6 o'clock. Order. Is there an echo in here? Try that again. It's better.
Where are you at now? What percentage are you?
Testing, 1, 2. Better? Okay, great. All right, meeting is called to order at 6:01. May we have roll call, please?
Chair Garcia,
Here.
Vice Chair Mendoza, Commissioner Gallardo,
Here.
Commissioner Urquidez,
Here.
Commissioner Zavala.
Here. Has anybody heard from Vice Chair Mendoza?
He has a baseball game.
Okay, may we have a motion to excuse?
I make a motion to excuse Vice Chair Mendoza.
For second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I forgot to say welcome to our planning commission meeting for May 5th. Always forget that. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Arquidez, could you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you for that. We are now at item D, public comments from the audience regarding items not on the agenda. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
No emails? Okay. We'll move on to consent agenda. One item, adoption of the March 3, 2026 Planning Commission minutes. March. Didn't have one in April.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the March 3rd, 2026 Planning Commission meeting.
You have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we can now move on to public hearings. We have 3 public hearings this evening. The first is the consideration of a resolution for design review approval for a new 10,000 square foot interior addition of metal storage buildings to an existing 91,807 self-storage facility on a 7.43 acre parcel at 760 El Camino Real, APN 109-144-008, and retroactive approval of a perimeter fence over 6 feet in height. May we have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair. Hello, Chair. I'm Paul Wood, City Manager for the City of Greenfield, and I am here presenting this item as the applicant is related to our normal senior planner, person that's doing planning work. And we just want to make sure that the visual is an arm's length transaction and other people are involved. Staff report was really prepared by Alyssa Fuller, a consultant assistant planner, and I'm doing the presentation. I am not going to pretend that I know everything that I say here, but we do have plenty of people that do know what's going on, and the applicants here as well. So with that, I will start in on what we've got here. So design review, section 17.10.040 of the city zoning code sets forth the responsibilities of the planning commission. Those responsibilities include hearing and deciding applications for design review. It's the planning commission's responsibility to approve, conditionally approve, or deny the proposed design review application. As a part of this process, the planning commission may require that the applicant modify plans in whole or in part and may condition the design review approval to ensure inclusion of specific design features, use of specific construction materials, and conformance with all applicable provisions of this title. Section 17.16.070E requires that design review approval or any modification thereto may be granted only when the planning commission makes all of the following findings. 1, any two-story construction requires notification of the property owners pursuant to section 17.14.040 public notices of this title. 2, the proposed project is consistent with the objectives of the general plan, complying with applicable zoning regulations, specific plan provisions, planned unit development provisions, applicable city design guidelines, and improvement standards adopted by the city. 3, the proposed architecture, site design, and landscape design are suitable for the purposes of the building and the site and will enhance the character of the neighborhood and the community. 4, the architecture, including the character, scale, and quality of the design, relationship with the site and other buildings, building materials, colors, screening of exterior appurtenances, exterior lighting and signing and similar elements establishes a clear design concept and is compatible with the character of buildings on adjoining and nearby properties. And 5, the proposed project addresses vehicle, bicycle, and pedestrian transportation modes of circulation. Product description. The project proposes an additional 10,000 square foot metal building at an existing storage facility, as well as retroactive approval of an existing 7-foot, 6-inch wrought iron fence along the driveway entrance of the site located at 760 El Camino Real, APN 109144008. The new metal building will be used as additional self-storage units and will be constructed on an existing concrete slab. Let's see if Okay, Greenfield Self-Storage presently operates as a personal storage facility located within the light industrial zone. The site of the proposed 7,500 square foot building is currently used for parking RVs and boats and will be converted to additional storage units. The new building will be 35 feet, 10 inches, matching the other buildings located on the site. A separate 2,500 square foot addition will be added to Building L, increasing the size from 6,000 square feet to 8,500 square feet. Additionally, the project includes an existing wrought iron fence that encloses the southwest corner of the site for review. The development code standard for site setback fencing has a maximum height of 6 feet and a maximum of 3 feet in front setbacks. However, with discretionary approval, additional height may be granted to enclose or screen specific areas or uses. The current height of the wrought iron fence is 7 feet, 6 inches and has a front setback of 5 feet. The property owner is Ken Slama and the engineering firm is Taluban Engineering. The project was submitted for review on August 8th, 2025, and was reviewed by planning staff for completeness. Due to previous permit on site ARC 2015-06, conditional use permit 2001-007, design review 2009-04, and amendment to CUP 2001-7, a landscape plan was requested from the applicant. The applicant provided the landscaping plan and included conditioned items such as vines along south property line. The wrought iron fence was included in the project after the third review due to the inconsistency with the development standards. Okay. The location, the proposed location is at 760 El Camino Real. Project site is zoned light industrial and is bound by light industrial zoning to the south, east, and west. To the north is highway commercial land uses. The project consists of one new metal building, an addition to an existing building, and approval of an existing non-conforming wrought iron fence, subject to design review by the Planning Commission. Staff analyzed the project's conformance with the city development standards and recommends approval with the attached conditions of approval. Section 17.58050 of the zoning code requires a minimum of 4 parking spaces plus 2 spaces for management. According to the site plan, there are 4 parking spaces in the front of the business, which includes 1 handicapped accessible space, as well as 2 spaces inside the business for management parking. The application is found to be compliant with parking requirements for personal storage facilities. Conformance with general plan and zoning code. Land use density. The city's general plan land use designation for this site is light industrial with an industry park overlay. The IL zoning district allows for personal storage facility stores without entitlements. The proposed project aims to intensify the existing use by adding new metal storage building and expanding an existing storage building. Lot coverage. In the light industrial zoning district, the zoning code does not specify a maximum lot coverage. The project parcel is 323,650 square feet. The project increases the amount of lot coverage from 91,807 square feet to 101,807 square feet, resulting in a lot coverage of 31.5%. The required minimum setbacks, I don't know where this is. There's elevations. Sorry, I'm just going through here. Front setbacks, 30 feet, front and side street setbacks of 30 feet, interior setbacks of 0 feet. The proposed project complies with the required setbacks. Related to height, the zoning code imposes a maximum height limit of 40 feet for industrial structures more than 100 feet away from AV residential. The new building and the expansion of the existing building are 8 feet 6 inches in height. The existing structures are within the allowable height limit and will remain as such. Related to landscaping, the zoning code requires a higher level of attention to landscaping. Design reviews require a preliminary landscaping plan to be submitted for all industrial developments. A preliminary landscaping plan was submitted for approval, which includes a drought-tolerant species, B, approved landscaping items from ARC 2015-06, conditional use permit 2001-007, design review 2009-04, amendment to CUP 2001-07, and design review 2010-04. C, 24-inch box trees at a maximum interval of 30 feet, as well as additional shrubs and/or vines, such that 50% of the enclosing wall will be covered by landscape material within 5 years. The landscaping plans have been reviewed by planning staff and have been deemed complete. Related to lighting, the city's development standards for exterior lighting are set forth in chapters 17.56 of the zoning code. There it notes that these lighting standards apply to non-residential projects. The project will comply with the shielding and illumination standards listed in that section. Fences and walls. The site is enclosed along the south and southeasterly sides by a wrought iron fence that is 7 feet 6 inches tall. The city's development standard for fences and walls set forth in chapter 17.52 states that walls located within the front setbacks shall not exceed 3 feet in height, while the rear and side setbacks shall not exceed 6 feet in height. A building permit, BP 21024, was issued for a 6-foot tall fence. However, the current fence exceeds 6 feet. Pursuant to chapter 17.52.020, a fence that exceeds 6 feet in height requires review and approval by the Planning Commission as a design review. This existing fence has been included in the project for review by the Planning Commission. Building design and features. The architect of the building will be consistent with the existing structures on the property. The building's materials will be entirely metal, including roofing and trim. The new storage building will include handicap accessible units with accessible features such as lightweight doors and pull straps to access the unit. The unit will feature roll-up metal doors consistent with the other existing storage buildings. The community neighborhood impact. The proposed project seeks to increase the storage space offered to residents through infill of existing space on the property. This minimizes the impact to the surrounding land while intensifying the use to serve customers. CEQA, the proposed metal building is exempt from the requirements of CEQA pursuant to section 15301 of the CEQA guidelines. Section 15301 provides a Class A categorical exemption for existing facilities. The project does not present any unusual features or circumstances that would result in a potentially significant environmental impact, nor is it located in an environmentally sensitive area. As such, the project qualifies for Class 1 CEQA exemption. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution granting design review approval for the proposed 10,000 square foot addition. Alternatively, we could recommend denial of the design review, deny of the project based on findings of inconsistency with state law, the general plan, zoning regulations, and/or other pertinent city standards, or recommend approval of the project with revisions and/or additions to or revisions to the attached conditions of approval. That is my staff report. Open up for questions.
Okay, thank you for that. Any initial questions before we move to public comment?
Do we do public comments first and then come back to us?
Well, while we have staff here, we
Okay,
can,
that's fine. Okay, so I have a question, if I may.
wait, I'm opening the public hearing. Okay, no, okay.
What?
No, it's a public hearing, so I have to announce that, but go ahead with your questions.
Okay, so I'm allowed to ask my question, is
Yes.
that correct? Okay, so my question is, it says here that it's gonna be built on a cement slab that's already existing. Where they're parked, currently there's vehicles parked there. Where do they propose to move those vehicles to?
Yeah. Are they moved inside the management?
The guy who owns it is related to this. This is what it's case now.
Okay. Are those employee spaces that are being used by employees now? Oh,
If you could come to the podium and address the commissioner. Mr. Gallardo, your question, he's going to answer.
Oh, my question was, the proposed building is gonna be put upon a concrete slab that's currently there, where there's currently vehicles as well as, I guess, mobile home or whatever parked there. Where do you propose to move those vehicles to?
We don't have a spot for them right
I'm
now.
sorry?
We will not have a spot for them right now.
So then what, the current owners are gonna have to remove them from the
The-
property?
What we were trying to do is put them inside the fenced area. But we will.
You're trying to do, but you're not sure if you can.
Well, that depends upon you. We would submit that after.
What fence are you talking about?
So,
The one on the outside?
yeah,
Well, I'll tell you that, that landscaping on the outside is looking bad. They don't take care of it. So they're gonna have to come in and put slabs down for the motorhomes and the RVs, correct?
yeah, we would have to do concrete. You don't have to, but that's what we
Yes, you do.
would want to do.
I believe, I'm sorry to interject here, but I believe there's a city code here that says you cannot park vehicles of any type on dirt.
Okay. It wouldn't be dirt. I would prefer to do concrete.
Right,
The
but you just-
question will be, does it have to be porous enough?
Right,
That
but
would
you
be-
just said you weren't sure if you, something about,
Oh, my plan is to do RV. That's why we built the fence, is to park them inside there. Whether we can do concrete or porous depends upon what is allowed.
okay. Yeah, because, like I said, I'm being redundant here. The city code stipulates something that you can't park any type of vehicles on earth.
Correct.
Because of, oils leaking or whatever. and get- Okay,
But where the RVs are parked now, that's not concrete, that is asphalt.
Where they're parked now is on concrete. They're-
So that's where they're gonna
They
put
are
the
on
building
the
up.
existing concrete. We designed the concrete slabs to take the buildings later. So these here, those slabs are made for the buildings, and this is with the slope. We just didn't put the buildings on top of them. This has asphalt in here, all of it is concrete.
This south side RV parking, that was considered a couple of years ago to make the RV park there, and they didn't do it.
Before we built this space here, I'm not sure, this here, we used to have RV parking on this side. And then we removed that and built the buildings. So now we build the building and then hopefully put the RV.
But it was proposed, maybe 2 years ago or so, that they were proposing to move the RVs out to the.
That's when, probably when we got permit to put the fence up.
So
Okay.
to move the RVs out, you're gonna do that front area with concrete stuff so they can move their RVs from where they're at outside
That
before
would
you
be-
start the other building?
That would be my preference.
Don't go too far. We're kind of a little bit out of order. We need to open up public comment. If there's any members of the public that have any comments. Anybody call or write in?
Hello, can you hear me?
Not really.
Hello, my name is Daniel Alvarez.
Is it
So
on?
what-
Can you hear?
Right, all good. Hello, my name is Daniel Alvarez. I'm with the Carpenters Union. I represent members on Santa Cruz and Monterey County. This is a good project that will encourage whoever is building it anyone involved in the building to support our general, I'm sorry, I lost it. To support a responsible general contractor, contractor that supports healthcare, apprenticeship programs, and a retirement plan. Because we know once the people retire, we know how expensive it is here in California. It's really hard to live. And with a good retirement plan, it will be better for the people who can retire. Also, when they have a good healthcare plan, they're not a burden to our system. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay. I'd like to invite the applicant back up if you want to discuss the project for us. Did you want to
Oh, no,
have anything
only
else?
answer whatever questions you have.
Okay, so anybody else have questions for the applicant? So I share the same concerns as Commissioner Gallardo about the folks that currently are storing their RVs and boats. So they're going to at least temporarily relocate those in order to accommodate this new building.
Well, if we get to the planning and then when you get to the building phase, I would like to submit something for, doing surface here so we can park it inside the fence.
Why isn't it part of this application?
This has been going on for quite some time, and so we just simplified it and tried to get approval.
Okay. And is that in anticipating that, reconfiguring of your facility, is that why the fence is a little bit higher than? Or was that an accident?
You want me to explain why the fence?
Sure.
So we got the approval for the fence. Jet Trucking is next to us. They built their fence. I said, hey, would you build a fence? And they got a permit for a 6-foot fence. They just continued it. And it's exactly what they had. And it's my fault. I didn't oversee it. I don't believe it's 7'6". I think it's like 6'4" from the curb, the top of the curb. But it's my fault. It's over. But that's what happened is they just continued that fence from Jet Trucking down.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I think it adds extra security. Okay. If there's no other comments or questions, we'll close the public hearing and move on to Planning Commission discussion and decision. Thank you. No comment? Comments?
I see that the fence itself is, what, a foot 6 inches taller than what it's called for? So do we have to, does he have to revise that?
Well, they're asking us to retroactively approve it. And he just mentioned just now that it's probably more like 6'4" instead of 7'6". But, I mean, it's right
Well,
there.
that's,
I think it's got, in my opinion, I think it has to be higher if you're gonna put RVs out there, because people have broken into RVs where they're parked now. And let alone, putting them out there so people could see it, they could break into them there too. I recommend that they build a fence at least 7, 8 foot. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, it's 7.5 now in writing. If there's no further comments or questions, there's a motion or a denial on page. On page 12.
I move that the Planning Commission of the City of Greenfield adopt resolution number 2026-01, granting design review approval of a new metal building in addition to an existing building and raw iron fence at 760 El Camino Real, subject to conditions of approval included in the resolution.
Can we have a motion? Is there a second?
second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I oppose.
Okay,
I as well oppose.
so we have 3 ayes and 2 noes. Motion carries.
Thank you, Chair.
Our next public hearing is consider adoption of a resolution recommending that the city council extend the vesting tentative map for the 182 unit Las Vegas residential subdivision to subdivide a 47 acre parcel at 40250 El Camino Real, assessors parcel number 221001168.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the commission, hopefully I can find which of my zillions of screens I want here.
Yeah, is your mic on? It's hard to hear.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Seems a little weird. Let's see here. right, there we go. Okay. So this item, as you mentioned, is a request for an extension of a vesting tentative map for a 182 unit subdivision down at the southern end of the city, adjacent to Greenfield High School and Vista Verde Middle School. You have the documents with you, but this is the subdivision Las Viñas. There's quite a history with the project. So 10 years ago, it was first approved in 2016. The property was annexed to the city of Greenfield. The EIR was adopted. The property was pre-zoned, and the first iteration had 150 units and lots that ranged from 6 to 12,000 square feet. It was redesigned in 2019 to 222 units and had 80 apartment units. Then a few months after that, they changed the design again to 182 lots, and there was approval of development agreement at that time. Obviously, with COVID and other things, eventually that project was allowed to expire. The Scheid family, who owned the property at that time, made a request back to the city to reinstate that version of the project. If you recall, we were in front of you back in 2024. May of 2024, the project came back to the Planning Commission. It was then recommended and approved by the City Council on May 28th. And it's the same project as that third iteration, and that map that I just showed you, 182 lots, looks like this. The vesting tentative map was approved for 2 years. It now expires on May 28th, 2026 of this year. The applicant has requested an extension. In the staff report, I believe it says 2027. That is a typo. The request is for 2 years. The municipal code allows up to 3 years of extensions. Typical policy has been to do a 2-year extension and then a last 1-year extension if needed. But I want to be clear on that their request is for 2 years to 2028. If you read the applicant's letter, as far as the request for the extension of the map, the biggest thing they cited is the impact of the pending wastewater moratorium in the city of Greenfield. Quite frankly, no developers are interested in developing the property at this time and putting in significant significant investments into infrastructure while there is this pending moratorium. The moratorium, just so you're aware, still has not gone into official effect. HCD keeps saying it's going to happen, but until we get that letter, the moratorium is not in effect. Once it goes into effect, all projects that are subject to building permits that are under the moratorium will be told, as in those approvals will essentially pause during the time of the moratorium. However, not knowing if that was going to happen, the applicant has requested the extension. So the applicant would get, should the city council ultimately approve the extension, they would get that extension plus whatever time the moratorium takes to clear up. The project, I'm more than happy to answer any questions about the project itself. If you have questions about the project, just the quick highlights. The project's in conformance with the 2005 general plan. There are interim ag buffers on the west and south ends of the project, adjacent to the existing agricultural properties. The primary circulation is all at El Camino Real on this project. Eventually, the goal is that it would extend up north to Elm Avenue, or yeah, to Elm. Once there's development west of that, there was a change in property ownership. The property was, the Scheids sold the property to a group with David Gill. There is no identified builder for the project at this point. So the project will have to come back at some point for design review. Whatever builder chooses to build, you would look at the elevations and the floor plans, but there's still no identified housing product at this time, just the lots. The project, if you remember, is exempt from inclusionary housing. One of the things we've talked about, and we've talked about this with the state, is that we're doing really well with the EAH project, the self-help project, and others on meeting our 6th cycle low and very low income. And through the number of ADUs that have been built, we're meeting all of our moderate incomes. We are struggling very much on our above moderate housing for the 6th cycle. So this project, as it stands, according to the development agreement and previous agreements, is exempt from any affordable housing. So this is a public hearing. It is a recommendation to the city council. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about the project. I believe that the applicant is present via Zoom if they have anything to add. And more than happy to answer any questions, but this concludes my staff report.
Thank you very much. We'll open the public hearing. And if there are any initial questions for staff at this point, we can always come back later, but
So in essence, all we're doing is giving them an extension, correct? 2-year extension?
Yes, the action is, if you approve it, it goes to the city council. The city council would consider a 2-year extension in addition to any time that is needed based on the moratorium.
anyone else? So I'm looking at the resolution. I don't see a time certain for the number of years of an extension. Is that intentional or is that just understood? That it's 2 years or?
I'll defer to the city attorney, but we can certainly clarify it. It's a recommendation, so it would be best to do that, I would think.
Yeah, I think it, I don't have the resolution in front of me, but I think it should include it.
Okay. 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 All right, any public comments? The applicant, if you're online and you'd like to address this, go ahead and raise your hand. And we'll try to unmute you. Okay, we got a hand raised.
Ran out of quarters.
Are you speaking, Pioneer Realty?
Let me see. I don't know if I have that power.
Okay, can you try to say something now, sir? Or-
Okay, well, can you hear me now?
Yes, hello.
Okay, yeah, Greg Paini here with Paini Realty. And just real quick, we put it on the market. The biggest obstacle we had, like Brent was saying, developer's first question was, well, what's the status of the sewer, treatment plant? And with the amount of investment required to go into it, everyone was kind of leaving it as give us a call when they figure it out. So yeah, hoping to go back onto market when when that plant gets a little further along in the process here.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other public comments? Any questions for the applicant while he's here?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll close public comment, move on to planning commission discussion and decision. Start with you, Commissioner Arquez.
Yes, I'd like to know when that moratorium is going to go into effect. Because are they starting to build the sewer plant now or is still not started yet?
No, they haven't started to build it yet. It's in plan check. I would defer to the city manager for the more of the details, but as far as the actual the planning documents, it's currently in building plan check, and then we'll go out to bid at some point next. So that'll be a very public process.
So in the meantime, people could build here.
It depends on HCD. I don't know if you want to.
So the city would also like to know when they're going to approve the building moratorium. It's imminent. They said they will, but they haven't actually provided the final letter. But as soon as that letter is received, the city will not issue any more building permits that require connection to sewer.
I know the reason why I brought this question up is I know that everybody's sewer and water rates went sky high, but they haven't started anything yet. Why is it, when are they gonna start? You have,
That's not it.
uh-huh. Okay. Thank you.
Any other? Okay. If not, there's a resolution to consider on page, a proposed motion, I'm sorry, on page 41.
Right, I got that.
Sure.
Sorry.
Timeout.
I thought you were
Question.
going one by
Oh,
one. You said this is a 2-year extension, right? 2 years passed, they get another extension for the 3rd year. After that, what happens? Okay, yeah.
So either they go get a final map,
Mhm.
which would be recorded by the county, and that would finalize this action, or the project expires. Which has already happened once, and then if they want to redo the project, they come back all over again, and everything has to be reconsidered.
So if a developer comes in at, 2.5 years in, or whatever it is, does that expire, or does that, once a developer says, hey, I want to move forward with this project, or as is, 182 units, that extension?
So the trigger to end the extension is the recording of the approval and recording of the final map.
Gotcha.
So the council approves the final map, they go get it recorded, and that takes care of that. Then they move forward for design review, building permits, all those things.
Is there any talks of a developer? I guess I should have approached Pioneer Realty. Is there any talks, or is it just out for sale and nobody's really biting on it?
No one has approached the city, but I'd defer to the group about that.
Yeah, so with the property, like I said, the sewer thing was a major obstacle. So yes, we were in talks with a lot of developers, trying to, drum up interest for the project. But with the uncertainty of unknowing how long it was going to take for, when the project would be coming online relative to the timeline for the sewer treatment plant, really that was kind of ended discussions for most developers at that time. So we actually pulled it off the market for a while, realizing that we really don't have a marketable product until developers knew what that timeline was going to be. So yeah, plan is to go back to market, go back to those developers once that sewer treatment plant timeline is a little more certain.
Okay. Don't have any questions either, so again, there's a motion on page 41.
Yeah, I'll do that. I move that the planning commission adopt resolution 2026-02, recommending that the city council extend the vesting tentative map for the 182 unit Las Vinas residential subdivision as part of the South End annexation project, which would subdivide a 47-acre parcel located at 42050 El Camino Real. That's it.
Read the APN number.
I'm sorry?
Read the APN number.
No, I don't see anything else. I did read that. Alpha Papa November 22100-168.
Thank you for that. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, our third public hearing is the consideration of a resolution for design review approval for a new 8,150 square foot commercial building with 7 tenant spaces and new parking on a 21,532 square foot property at 236 El Camino Real, APN 024-032-016. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. This item is what you just said. It's an 8,150 square foot commercial building in downtown Greenfield on El Camino Real on a property that has been vacant. This is probably the most downtown-ish of our blocks in terms of conformance with the traditional downtown, in terms of having buildings at the front of the street, set forth, parking in the rear. And this building proposal works to work with that. It falls within our downtown design standards, our downtown specific plan, or our downtown design guidelines, beg your pardon. And this is the proposed structure. It's 7 tenant spaces, 1,000 square feet spaces on 6 of those, and then a main section in the middle, 2,150. You can look at some of the lighting concepts, the colors. I usually let the applicant team and those behind me that are here for the project talk a little bit more about those types of things, but certainly you can ask questions in terms of code. Looking here at the site plan. So this property is, this building is not exactly at the front property line, although it's allowed. It's set back a little bit. It adds for a wider sidewalk. There's a bus stop right in front of it. But it's set back, and then the middle building set back a little more. But you extend the sidewalk out, there's planter boxes, and then a rear parking lot. As we mentioned, vacant lot, 8,150 square foot building, up to 7 tenant spaces, none of them identified at the moment. So it's a spec building, 4-foot 9-inch setback, and expanded sidewalk at the front, 1-foot side setbacks, 70-foot, 1 foot in the rear. The requirements for that zone in the downtown are zeros all around, so it's very flexible in terms of what you can do. There's 25 spaces for rear parking. There's limited parking in front of the property. I think there's 7 spaces directly in front that are diagonal parking on El Camino Real. There's a bus stop in the middle. Signage would be submitted in the future based on the tenants that end up going there. Uniform sign program would be required. There's a condition approval for that. So those would get looked at. The point being that there would be some integrated signage concept between the users. You could see on the site plan kind of the signage box for each of the users. This is a project that would be subject potentially to the building moratorium. So although you can go ahead and approve it today, if the moratorium does go into effect, it would fall under that, and the approvals would be delayed during the length of the moratorium. Typically, design review approvals in the city of Greenfield have been for 3 years for them to go get a building permit. So any of those dates would be told by the length of the moratorium. Here to answer any questions, we have members of the public here that represent the project. Staff's recommendation is that you approve Resolution 2026-03, approving the building and the design review. Of course, if you have revisions or questions or changes to conditions of approval, we can certainly look at those. They are pretty comprehensive in terms of the requirements we have for our downtown buildings. If you have other direction, we'll take that, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions from staff. Otherwise, we have a public hearing and we can hear from the applicant, anyone else that wants to speak on the item.
Okay, thank you for that staff report. Any brief questions for staff? Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Are there any public comments?
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Ed Reinhardt. I'm the architect for this project, and I want to thank staff for bringing this to you tonight. And staff did a good job of explaining the project. And if you have any questions, I can be more than happy to answer them. We're really excited about taking this vacant lot and filling it up with a building. And my sidewalk is wider because I believe the downtown sidewalks in all of Greenfield need to be made wider. And since I'm right next to the bus stop, it's actually a pretty good place to widen out the sidewalk right there with the bus stop. So, and it works really good. I think it's about 4 feet wider than what it is right now. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you. Do we have questions for Mr. Reinhardt?
I do. Will these be the colors that you guys are gonna use for the buildings?
Yeah, they're not coming out that great, but so we've got some, the main colors would be your some tan and dove type colors. With the two strong colors, that's going to be brick. That's a brick veneer. And then I've got some green truss under the brick and in that one area, stucco siding, and then some green trim on the metal roof and some more brick on where it says signage at 236. Some more brick veneer. The rear is very similar with green awnings over each door and then different colors of paint. But the paint is a tan and dove color probably.
And on this picture here, where is the bus stop? Is it right in the center?
Yeah, it's right. in the
Okay.
center.
Well, I really like the colors. I hope they stay. And don't paint them another color because I really like these colors. I think these colors go great with what we would like on ECR. So yeah. Are you guys gonna have any surveillance connected to PD or anything like that?
There'll be cameras available. That's part of the construction documents where there's cameras for the back, the parking lot and out in the front. It'll have surveillance.
Okay.
And there is a condition in there that calls for that. Any camera systems now, there's a consultation with the police department on integrating them into their system. How that may or may not work.
That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so when you say there's parking in the back,
Right.
what exactly are you making reference to? Because the back, what I see is an alley,
There's an alley in the back.
right?
And we're gonna access the parking lot through the alley. That's how we're gonna access that parking, is through that 15-foot alley.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with the alley. I've seen it on occasion, but I actually haven't been on it.
Yeah.
That's pretty narrow back in there. Are you proposing to pave the alley?
We're proposing to pave our section of the alley. And if it needs to go out to the street, I'd have to read the conditions. I don't know if there were any conditions about that, but the alley
paved
will
already?
be improved.
The alley's paved.
Yeah, the alley's paved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so are you gonna have parking up front other than the street?
The street parking.
That's
is-
the only thing up front?
Right, there's not gonna be a driveway.
Okay. Yeah, because I was concerned if there was gonna be a driveway, how close is the proximity to the bus stop?
No,
But I mean, that becomes irrelevant now.
that's irrelevant.
Okay.
It's just so in the downtown, I've talked to Paul Mugen before his passing, but when we were talking about this, we both had the idea it should go from property line to property line, fill the whole block, our whole lot up with a building facade and not have 30 feet of a driveway where I can only make a right-hand turn. So that's why we decided on using the alley in the back.
And how many parkings did you say you were gonna have in the back? Or did you?
It's 25.
I'm sorry?
25.
Okay.
So the requirement for the zone is 3 spaces per 1,000. It requires 24. And that doesn't count the El Camino Real Street parking. Only counts on-site parking.
Is that next to the billiard building? That's your dad's
Yeah.
place, right?
The
It is?
What did you say?
And then
No, I think what did you ask, Commissioner?
I said, there, where they plan on building this, it's next to a billiard place where they used to have pool tables and
Oh,
stuff in there.
And the
Is
the
that nature?
Bolero is on the other side, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Valero's and all
No.
That's a different block. If you
No, there's
look
a
at
dress,
the,
there's a dress shop next to it on the north side and then the restaurant.
it's the restaurant that's on the corner.
Any other questions? No? So, on the, I noticed you have awnings in the rear. Is there any consideration for awnings in the front to kind of go along with the existing businesses that are out there?
The green ones or the others? In the front.
Are there awnings in the front?
They actually, all the front doors are stepped back from the front facade.
Mhm,
They go back about 3 feet.
3 feet.
So, yeah.
What are these little green?
Those are metal roofs. That's a metal roof. It
Okay.
goes back to it's a metal roof. It doesn't stick out from the building. It goes back. So this sticks out the most. This steps back and then it sticks out here. And these are the roofs that go back to the parapet.
Mhm. On your picture, underneath the word signage, there's like 3 little green, are those decorative little icons? What are those?
That's from the printing.
Oh,
There's nothing there.
oh, well, they look nice.
In terms of the lights.
That's just the way you print it up.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Any other public comments or? Here, okay, we'll close the public hearing, move on to discussion and decision. Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt.
Thank you.
Anyone want to start off?
I'm glad that we have something's gonna go up there. It's been empty forever, so. Yeah. I'm excited.
Well, I'm always content when we have more businesses coming in because it creates more tax revenue for our community and hopefully more job openings. My concern is, I mean, this is a major undertaking for the family. But then you look around through our community and you see other businesses leaving. And I mean, I realized they're more than aware of what they're getting into. And again, at the risk of being redundant, I appreciate the fact that there's more business coming in. But yeah, I hope they realize what they're actually getting into.
Thank you for that. Decision time. There's a motion on page 66.
I move that the Planning Commission of the City of Greenfield adopt resolution number 2026-03, granting design review approval of a new 8,150 square foot commercial building at 236 El Camino Real, subject to conditions of approval included in the resolution.
Thank you for that, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. We look forward to the new addition to our downtown.
I hope they have better luck with PG&E than the other people. That one's still shut.
Okay, moving on to G, other business. I don't see anything under there. Is there anything from staff on that? Okay, we can go back to H, comments from planning commission and staff. Start with you this time, Commissioner Zavala. Comments?
I got nothing.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I think I read in the Monterey Weekly that the city has obtained the grants for the ponds out there. Is that true?
Yeah, we did receive, a partial grant, partial loan for the wastewater treatment plant.
Yes,
It was, yeah, it was approved.
but I don't remember the exact numbers, but it wasn't what was expected, is it?
This isn't within the planning commission purview.
Okay, so then I'll just cut it off then.
Any comments from staff? Okay, with that, we'll adjourn at 7 o'clock. Thank you.